Hello everyone and welcome for this tutorial on LaunchPy, the Python application wrapper for Launch, Adobe Launch. Um, so we will cover in those different videos that are coming how you can use the LaunchPy Python application for managing your launch properties and the different use cases that you could answer through that Python application. Um, and we will first do this on this video, the introduction on what Launch is, because not everyone is familiar with what exactly is Launch and how it has been built. Um, and for full disclosure, I'm not a product person, so I'm saying that from my knowledge and how I've seen this product evolve, but it's not exactly from internal source that you will hear that. Sorry. So Adobe Launch is the new tag management for Adobe. They used to be part of Satellite. So the first tag management was DTM, Dynamic Tag Management, and you may have still heard that, depending when you watch the video, because there is this old library or this old tag management is going to be deprecated at the end of the year, so completely getting out. So most of the Adobe clients are now switching to Launch, which has been renamed to Adobe Experience Platform Launch. And this is because this will be the first entry point for the Experience Platform data ingestion for at least web and mobile component. Also, Adobe Launch is one of my favorite API that have been built from Adobe Experience Cloud. And to mention, I think, again, I'm not an expert on that, but I think this is the first API first approach, Experience Cloud product from Adobe. And you can really see when we will dig into the API together, what does that mean? But comparison to Target or to Adobe Analytics or Audience Manager, that they build API to access their different products or different capability. This one, the Adobe Platform Launch, has been built around the API. So the API exists already, and then they build a UI on top of it. So it's a different approach. You can start to think and start to see why this is a completely different approach, and this make us a way more powerful capability doing the API than any other product. Like we have done already the Adobe Analytics API 2.0 that is built on top of Workspace. It's kind of the same approach, but Adobe Analytics is much more than just Workspace, which is kind of the UI view of your data. So you don't have a feature parity with what Adobe Analytics is capable of with the Adobe Analytics API 2.0. In Launch, this is not the case. You have the full extent of what Launch is capable to do. So basically, if sometimes you can do something through the API, but you cannot do it yet from the UI. It becomes less and less true because obviously it comes closer and closer to the different capability, but it's still nonetheless a very interesting approach, and I do like it very much. It's been really well designed, and it was really a bliss to develop the Python API from this. So you have access to this platform, Adobe Experience Launch platform documentation from this developer.adobelaunch.com website, and here you can see all of the different um, capability that the API allows you to do from Launch. So nothing I will show basically, yeah, out of this world. You can find everything here. So I have access to probably more resource, but I try to develop everything based on the public resource. So we have the same view on what is capable of, and for debugging, what people try to do is always better. So whatever I'm going to present, you can always access and see what I'm doing, or the kind of application or capability I'm trying to do in Python from this page. how Adobe Launch works. I will do also a quick view on this, just a very broad. This is not the idea of presenting the product. Salespeople do that way better than I do. I'm just using it, and from it, there's different capability that we need to know, and you need to know some keywords that actually you will now after that better understand how the different Python method are being used. And if I take one of the different properties, so those are different properties that you can have in Adobe Launch. And normally each properties are uh, based on for each website, kind of. So it could be a different strategy you have. So one property have multiple websites with the same template, or one property is only a specific template within your website. It's also possible. And I have several of them. So basically they will encapsulate all of your rules. The tag manager is based on the rules that you define. And they will encapsulate your rules, your extension, and your data elements. And all of them are combined inside one property. So if I open any of those, actually I'm not using that much. Those are from my obviously my own sandbox. You can directly see that you open it and now you have the different or yeah different element that you can have from within one property. So this property is data analyst 2. So it's yeah, let's imagine I have a second website where I need to actually tag things and then retrieve this information. So I create a new property and I will need to define some rules, data elements, extension. So let's do this in order, and this is actually funny because it's in the reverse order of what you will probably need to do. Um, I mean, this order is probably the reverse order, and we will start with extension. So what are extensions? Extensions are the different elements that you have on your property and will encapsulate a lot of JavaScript logic inside. So the core extension is basically the main extension, the Adobe Launch itself. So it's provide a data elements. It's exactly the definition is quite good, and it provide the event condition and data elements type that automatically is being handled with this core JS library that you install. You can have different extensions that, such as Adobe Analytics. So this will encapsulate all of the Adobe Analytics logic, and you can use that in Launch quite easily. And you can have several other extensions. So here you can see I have DoubleClick, I have Twitter. There is a full catalog of it. I don't know how many there is, but there's quite a lot. Um, and you can also develop your own extension. So this is also very interesting. I think now it's also being used for Google Tag Manager that you build your own logic within the template of what Adobe Launch gives you, and then you can upload that, and now you have a library of JavaScript method that you can use wherever you want on your website. So it's for something that you need to scale. This is really good, and sometimes you want to reduce the amount of code you have on, because you can put code directly in the script, tag manager script. You want to reduce that and encapsulate the full logic inside an extension. So this is the core functionality, because everything that you are going to do is going to use one of those extensions. The most famous or the most used one is the core, and I think the second one is probably Adobe Analytics, but I don't have details on that. So the second element that we're going to briefly introduce are data elements. And data elements are JavaScript variables that can be used within the rule itself. So if you create a new data element, you can see I don't have any, but you need to say which extension you want to create this data element. Let's say this is my data element for some reason. And then you say, okay, I want to use the core extension for this data element. That's why the extensions are very important because they are the base of everything. And then you say, okay, what is your data element about? And this is your JavaScript variable, and you can say, yeah, I want to retrieve a cookie information. So you say cookie name, blah, 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 and then they are going to retrieve it. You can say I want custom code, which is the most basic one. And then you say I want to write something that says that returns something else. So let's say returns something, and then whenever I call this data element, it will return something, literally. You can have a default value and so on and so on. There is some storage duration, and this is very a good tip to share is that this is not giving you a cache, but it's whenever you're trying to reach that for that data elements, if it's not available, it will retrieve the last value saved based on the storage duration. If it's available, if there is a way to calculate that data element, it will return that data element anyway. It will recalculate it. So it's kind of a safeguard of some sort, but it's not a cache as you can imagine it. Okay, we have extension, we have data elements, and now we are going to look at the rules. And the rules here, you can see you can create a new rules actually, and this is going to define which tag are we going to do. So you define an event, you set a condition, what you want to have, like I want to fire at the top of the page when a certain criteria is met or not met. And then from that, you derive your action. And all of those are actually bed in the same structure. You define which extension you want to use. I want to use this time Adobe Analytics. And I want to set my variables um, and so on. So I'm setting my variables. I keep change. And then here you do then another action applies. You say I want Adobe Analytics again. And I will send the beacon. And you can send either a page view or either a click event. So I keep changing, and then you do these kind of things. Important to know as a keyword that you need to know, like some naming, those different components that you have in the rules are called rule components. And we are going to see that because what the rules are, they are basically a shell of rule component themselves. They are nothing else than this shell, and that's how you need to think of them. So there is another element that we'll see, and you can see that they have been displayed in two different elements, and we have actually followed the same structure in the Launch API Python wrapper. Funnily, that this is new. My Launch is older than this new interface, but actually I'm happy that they were doing the same thing that I did, because all of this is the whole process in itself. So you can see that here you create a new library, and this new library is going to be published through different stage. And here you can have as many as you want, as many libraries as you want in your development environment. So you can test between different libraries if you want. You can have multiple teams working on different libraries at the same time. Um, and then they are going to submit, but you can only submit one by one and publish one by one. The interesting thing to know is that the library that are built here or here are always retrieving elements from the this path or this element. So here you have everything that have been published, approved, or submitted. Here in submitted, you have everything that have been published, and so forth. Interesting also to know is that approved is the stage of already being approved, but not being built. So you build elements, so you build them in your JavaScript elements. We'll see that in the different environments you have. And then you pass them, they approve it, and then they build it in this environment. So we'll see that now with the environments. So you can see that we have one development, I mean actually multiple development, which is a good thing to show, because we could have multiple libraries built at the same time. And for each of those libraries, we need a specific develop or a specific environment to host that tag. So if I click here, you can see that I can retrieve this script, place it on whatever page I want, um, and then I will retrieve the library built into that environment. And you can have only one for staging and one for production. So this is it. And you have two type of hosts that you can have. You can have one managed by Adobe, which is Akamai, or you can have a SFTP host. Okay, this is it. That was a bit fast, um, but I think that's most of you that are watching this video are probably aware of what launch capabilities are, but it's good to have those keywords, and especially the rule component and the different way that the publishing works, to have that a reminder of this before going forward. Some notes going forward. You will need to create a console Adobe I/O project, a new one with access to launch. So you can see that I have a launch API that is being created. And if you have it created before, way before, there have been some change that I'm not aware have been officialized, let's say it like this, but you need to be aware of. Especially this is very important because this is basically creating your token. This is what you need to create a token. You don't need to worry about this if you use my Python wrapper, but if you want to develop your own application, this has been changed. So this is my old, and when you were creating your launch environment or a launch API connection, you add this service authorization, which is enterprise reactor. Reactor is the name of Adobe Launch service engine, and admin SDK, because you add the capability, or you still have the capability. You have the capability to change everything in your launch, because everything that you can do in launch can be done through the API. Recently, they have changes. So in that service, you see that I have analytics and launch, so it's a bit bigger. So I have one for analytics service. You can see it's Adobe Analytics is Enterprise Analytics Bulk and Jest SDK. But for Reactor, we remove the admin part, and that has been changed, and that broke my code for some times. If you ever encounter that, then be careful. If you're using the correct way to connect and generate the token, it may be that you're not using correct one. You can access the launch py, so the real name of my Python application that use a launch, which is easy to remember. It used to be called PyLaunch for some times, and then when I had to or when I wanted to open source it through the Python application, Python index, package index, PyLaunch was already taken, so I had to rename it to LaunchPy. But still, some people tell me that there is, if there is any update on PyLaunch, and I will still understand what that means. But just for your information, the new name is LaunchPy. There is a get started guide that you can actually follow to get started, and everything is being explained here. And there is a documentation that is available on my website at analyst.info. But I copy most of the thing here, so you can actually directly see the different elements. There are some core library methods that I've done, and all of that we will cover then. But if you are annoyed by my voice and my accent, then you can directly read everything here. It's mostly the same. It's just no demo on it. That being said, as I will just show you that you need as well to install. I will not do that again. If you want to know how to install Python and everything, I will. I have already done that for the Adobe Analytics introduction. There is probably a link to that in the article summarizing all of those videos. But just for your information, you just need to make sure that you pipe install LaunchPy, and even you can do. Doing that, you will even get the newer version because I'm still working on this. And you do that, they will tell, so pipe will find it and will say, okay, we'll do it, and it will say, okay, it's already satisfied. I already have it on my computer, so I can start using it. Just make sure you do the same, so you have the latest version, and we'll see that. But I guess the latest version is 0.2.1, something like this. Yeah, 0.2.0. Make it a bit bigger. Hop. Um, so as you can see, it has not reached yet the 1.0.0 version. So be mindful of any change that come in the future, because I'm always trying to improve and enhance this library, but it may break some methods as well. That being said, I think we are done for this video. That was a very short, I tried to be a short introduction on the launch capability. And talk to you soon for actually working with the API itself. Bye.